Hello and welcome back to another episode of a weekly Waypoint, where this week we are playing Fortnite, and you might be thinking, Fortnite? 2 weeks in a row? That's a choice. But Chapter 5 has started, so it's basically a completely different game now. I did not get to see the event, but I don't think I really care all that much, to be perfectly honest. I'm interested in the event when it's like a giant cube rolling over the world or some shit, which I missed, but I'm not so interested when it's just M&M's here. I mean, it was probably really cool, but yeah, lots of people had trouble getting into it, and my friends weren't around at the time either, and I don't know when they were doing the, because they had issues, they said they would do it 2 more times. I have no idea when that happened. It's fine. I'm not really into that part of it. I'm into the fact that the game is completely different now, and it feels really fresh and really fun. And I don't think that freshness is artificially induced. That was an unfortunate choice of words. I don't think the sense of freshness is artificial due to, like, the fact that we've just had the Fortnite OG season. I think even if we had come... I didn't play it, actually, the final season of Chapter 4. But I think even coming off of Chapter 4, Season 3, if we just went straight into this, it would have felt really fresh as well. Because it's completely new, completely different. The world's completely new. There's new movement tech. There's new... guns, it's all happening, it's all going down, and I think it had only been out for like a day by the time I was playing it last night, so I just wanted to hop in and have a look. I quite like the Battle Pass, and I just happened to have it because I got Fortnite Crew to get the Fortnite OG stuff, and I honestly didn't think I would be all that interested in the next season, but I am. I must say, with the advent of this season, the new UI for the locker stuff is like weirdly obtuse. They've made it so that it's 2 columns of massive icons, and when you hold down the down button to scroll down, sometimes it catches and you have to press it again. And I mean, obviously that's probably a bug, that's not just like a design intention, but it just looks really massive and chunky, and there's so much less information displayed on screen at once, and I don't know why they've done it this way. It's harder to navigate, it's messy, I don't understand. I was hoping they would give us more locker spaces, but apart from 2 at the bottom of the list, which I don't recognise having made, I don't think they have given us any more, because I have spent some time in this game, and I have a lot of skins, and I'm having to start to make some difficult choices as to what to swap out. But another thing they've done with this chapter and season is they've made another step towards making Fortnite a platform as opposed to just a single live service game. And now they're going to be releasing, I think it's 3 different live service games within Fortnite, including a Lego one, which I'm the most interested in, a racing one, which I'm also quite interested in, which is made by the Rocket League devs, which is exciting, and something to do with like musical concerts, which I don't really understand how that could be its own game, but it has got its own section for like, you can have your own types of guitars and stuff, so I have no idea how that's going to work. I guess I'll see when it comes out. Personally, I find it a little bit weird as to why anyone would want Fortnite to become a platform with live service games inside. Like, it makes sense as a business decision for Epic to want to funnel people into Fortnite so that they can have everything in one place, so that they can sell stuff to people, right? I don't understand why any people would want that, because, I mean, just look at the queues. You couldn't get into Fortnite for like a day unless you hung around for hours. Do you want to also not be able to access all the other games that are inside Fortnite within that same queue? It doesn't really make much sense to me for a player. That being said, I do like, this opinion was formulated before I learned that, a lot of the stuff that you get in the Battle Pass also crosses over to like these other game modes. So I do like that. I do like more opportunities to use my skins that I've earned, and like especially like there's going to be Lego versions of these skins in the survival game, which is really interesting. I hope I like the Lego survival game, because I really like the Lego aesthetic. I was personally hoping that this Fortnite season would be like a Lego season, but my slightly cynical opinion is that they might be a little bit of a flash in the pan that most people aren't really going to bother with. But hey, who knows, I could be wrong. Hopefully I am. Now, coming up a few days from now on the 9th, we're going to have the Game Awards, which, as we all know, is where people go to announce video games, and then the awards are just kind of like the filler content in the middle. I've already talked about the Game Award nominations, but I think it might be fun to talk a little bit about what to expect from the game announcements at the Game Awards, because that's a thing that happened. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I can't think of many announcements from the Game Awards that have been particularly crazy for me. It's usually, you know, somewhere between like the big brand E3 reveals and PC Gamer Show. PC Gamer Show being like the bottom of expectation. So I would say, you know, the Game Awards sits somewhere in the middle where they might announce a few things that will, you know, pique my interest, make me intrigued. But for the most part, it's probably going to be a bunch of stuff that's either on a platform I don't have, a AAA game that I don't particularly care for, or just, you know, free-to-play stuff that I'm going to forget 5 minutes after it airs. This sounds like a very negatively charged video. I promise I'm in a good mood. I don't know why I'm having so many down opinions. I am excited. I'll put this out there. I'm excited for the Game Awards. I do enjoy these shows. I do like the anticipation of not knowing what's going to be revealed, and there are usually a few things which do get me excited. I'm just kind of like setting my own expectations, I guess, of like I don't think there's anything particularly crazy that's going to happen at the Game Awards. But I bring it up not just to shit on it, but because it's made me think about upcoming games next year. Because this year has been such a crazy year for gaming in terms of releases that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and do like my most anticipated right now. That's something I want to save till the end of the year. But it has started that thought process of like, well, what is coming out next year? And I've come to the realization that like, I don't think there's really anything coming out next year outside of like the next WoW expansion or the next Final Fantasy XIV expansion that I'm particularly excited for. Again, I haven't had a dig through what's been announced, what I've forgotten about, but there's nothing that really stands out for me. And you know what, that's fine. If 2024 is a more lackluster year for gaming, or at least in terms of my particular tastes, that's absolutely fine, because I have a fairly big backlog of shit to get through myself. Like, most years I don't spend that year playing games which came out that year. You know what I'm saying? Like, 2023 has been a bit of a unique one for me in that I've played a lot of games which were new for this year, and I don't normally do that. So if I spend my 2024 catching up on like the Yakuza games and like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, which I've been wanting to play for a while, and you know, that kind of thing, then that's fine. I spend a lot of my time playing like live service games anyway, so you know, Fortnite, World of Warcraft, that kind of thing. I feel like half or more of like my experience in gaming is those kinds of games, and those aren't the kinds of games that get these big singular releases, these big sequels to look forward to. They're more like the incremental update kind of a game. But yeah, December 9th I will do my yearly ritual of grabbing some snacks, getting cozy, hunkering down and watching some Game Awards, and I don't know if I'm going to make like a thoughts on video afterwards, or if I'm just going to tweet about it, or if I'm going to make like a reaction video. I'll come to that, you know, unless you have any preferences in the comments, I will probably just come to that conclusion on the day. One thing I have to wonder about is when Xbox are going to start talking about bringing the Activision titles to Game Pass. They did say it wouldn't be this year, and I'm not holding out any hope for it being this year, but you know, it's starting to get Christmassy, and one fairly formative Christmas memory I have is of playing Crash Team Racing on the PS1 when we were putting up the Christmas tree on the, I think it's called the Hot Air Skyway course specifically, and it just made me think like, wouldn't it be nice if I managed to get some games on Game Pass early for Christmas, you know? Like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just start my Xbox Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled profile around Christmas time? Again, I'm really not personally holding out any hope for this, but it would be nice. And I feel like the Game Awards is certainly a place where they might announce something like that. So I guess that's one announcement that I'm slightly hoping for. Again, not expecting, but hoping to see at the Game Awards. And even then, even if it's not like for December, it might be like, early next year, this is coming to Game Pass. And just like a little formalization of things, a little, you know, making it official, because there's never really been an official, you know, confirmation. I mean, Phil Spencer has said stuff, I guess you would call it an official confirmation, right? But Phil Spencer said, like, yeah, obviously we'll be bringing those games over, but there's never been, like, a Xbox brand post about it. So, you know, maybe it's time. Get that sizzle reel going. Get that excitement hyping up. Get people interested. Because if there's one thing Xbox needs, It's for people to be excited about the acquisition that certainly no one's been paying attention to. I'm being facetious. Can you tell I'm being facetious? Shall we move on? World of Warcraft Season of Discovery launched this week, and I have a video on it if you would like to go and see it, but if not, here's my thoughts so far. I think Season of Discovery is a really, really fun way to get back into classic WoW. Like, there is enough familiar that you're like, oh yeah, this is WoW Classic, right? Like, it's still gonna have like the shit quest design of like having to kill like 50 boars to get 8 boar meat or whatever. Like the hotly contested NPC zones, the not shared quest drops among party members. You know, it's still WoW Classic, and I think that's something that, you know, maybe some people didn't consider when they were jumping into the game. I've had some friends, not just you, Reese, if you're watching, because I know Reese had this issue, but like literally, I've heard other people as well talk about like, oh, I wish this was designed better, and I feel like saying, yeah, but it's still WoW Classic. It's still going to be WoW Vanilla. But the Season of Discovery stuff does actually address some of the pain points of the 2004 design, mostly, in my opinion, at least if you're a druid, mana management for DPS. There's been some discussion on whether talking about the differences that you can find in the Season of Discovery is a spoiler. I personally don't really consider it to be so, because the spirit of the thing is this community drive of finding out secrets and sharing the information and progressing through the game together, and that's why I was so keen to jump in on this when it was new, when it was launching, because it's very much in the moment, as it's, you know, as of its time kind of a thing. I don't know how well this is going to age in a year, you know, when the content's all stale and done. So I am going to talk about like some of the things I found that change up how the character plays. If you do consider that a spoiler, you may want to skip this section, but I really wouldn't worry about it. So yeah, I'm playing a balanced druid, because balanced druids are notoriously quite shit in vanilla, but I main a balanced druid in the main game, and I've been very interested in how those played back in Classic, because the earliest I ever played the game was Burning Crusade. So I've been playing balanced druid in hopes that maybe they're not shit anymore. And I've been having a really good time with it. Like, firstly, I feel like the fantasy of being a druid is so much better in vanilla or Burning Crusade, because you've got like the cat form at like level 20, which increases your movement speed, which is actually huge for Classic. Like, when you're fully immersed in that world, some of the things you can do as a druid are really fun, and I think some of that has been lost in retail WoW. And I've been coming to terms in retail WoW recently with the idea that there are other classes and specs that I prefer to play a lot more than my main, which is balanced druid and always will be. But, you know, Shadow Priest is just too fucking fun. In Season of Discovery though, one of the first runes you get for druid is one which basically makes your mana cost for Wrath free, which is huge, because that means you don't have to stop and have a sip of water after every single mob encounter. Season of Discovery is rife with this kind of things, with like passives which make your class so much more playable, of, you know, abilities from later expansions which make it a lot more fun, and then completely new things as well, of course. So far I'm level 16, the cap at the minute is level 25. I love the short level cap because it really makes it feel approachable. I have started my first ult just for my own sanity, because that's how my attention span works. I've started a Warlock, which I'm going to continue playing after I've recorded this video. I'm really enjoying leveling my professions as well. They've got a little thing where you can find these boxes out in the world which you can fill with profession related things and turn them into a new reputation vendor for some experience, for some currency and for some reputation. I don't know what the reputation actually unlocks yet, but I feel like it's probably important to build that up. Other than that, other than the runes and the profession stuff, I haven't really got delved much into like the differences yet. I haven't actually actively started looking at Wowhead to find the different runes either. I think when I hit level cap I'm going to go back and try and find the runes through Wowhead, but at the minute I'm enjoying finding them organically as I go. I've joined a lovely guild as well, and hopefully I can join them in raiding the new raid. I'm not stalling, I remember what it's called. It's Black Fathom Deeps? It's not Black Fathom Deeps, it's Wailing Caverns, I think. I've really never been one for joining a raid full of people that I'm ever going to see again. You know, I'm an LFR Andy in retail because I have anxiety issues and a bad attention span, and I find it difficult to listen to instructions and memorize them. But apparently the raids in Season of Discovery are going to be a lot more simple, like as in molten core level simple, and I feel like I can handle that. There are also 10-player raids, which, you know, I mean, WoW has that as well, but it feels very like, oh, just, you know, it's not, it's, you know, if the amount of people playing that game right now, it's not going to be difficult to find 9 other players to play through the new raid. I'm part of a lovely guild called the Rose Garden, which has kind of been created as like a haven for like queer people, and, you know, I'm a bi man, and I just, you know, it's less that I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, there is part of me that's like, these are my people, very much. Like, I have so many like friends who are queer in different ways, but also it's just nice knowing that, like, oh, I'm part of a guild that isn't going to be making just offhand prejudice remarks, that I'm gonna like be 2 weeks into being invested in that guild, and then it's gonna be like, oh, I've just realized that half of these people think, you know, have a very different worldview to me, and it makes me uncomfortable. It's nice knowing that that's probably not going to happen here. Unfortunately, old versions of MMOs are absolutely rife with that kind of community, and I don't know why. I do know why, but, you know, we like old games too, damn it. I think there's very much a subsection of people who are like, back in 2004 I was allowed to say these things online and make fun of these people, and now I want to go back to WoW Classic and be able to do that again, or back to old school RuneScape and be able to do that again. I think it's very unfortunate, but, you know, I think that's probably why. And I think people that don't understand not wanting to hear that kind of thing probably think like, oh, you must be so fragile, like not wanting to hear that kind of thing. But it's really just more of like a, oh, ick. Oh, okay, sure, Pathead, good joke, buddy. It's not really that funny, you know. It's like, you know, you're making the same joke you've been making for 20 years, you know. I'd rather be around funny people. Anyway, the point here is that I'm having a brilliant time in WoW Classic Season of Discovery right now, and I feel like it's the place to be if you're a WoW fan and you want to be part of it as it's happening. I would say jump in while it's still fresh, while it's still beginning. Not necessarily because not all of the secrets have been found yet, but because of a level cap of 25, it's much more approachable than I think it's going to be later. I really hope it has staying power. I hope that people see the value of rolling alts instead of just hitting 25, doing a raid a couple of times and waiting for the next phase, and then the game being dead for a few weeks or whatever. But yeah, it's a good time. Anyway, this episode of Weekly Waypoint is about to come to a close. This is the closest I've ever come to winning a solo game of Fortnite, because I don't play a lot of solo, so I'm going to leave you with the reaction from Christian in real time after I did it, after I won that crown. I got that dub. And that was my first ever solo victory royale, because I don't play solos very often, but I've never been able to get one.